This is RTV6 News at 7, working for you.
Now at 7, a look at the latest coronavirus data from the Indiana State Department of Health. More than 11,600 cases have been confirmed in Indiana. More than a third of those cases are in Marion County. 569 people have died, and 89% of those victims were 60 and older. Good evening here at 7 o'clock, and thanks for being here with us. I'm Mark Mullins.
And I'm Amanda Starantino. Today, Governor Holcomb addressed protests that took place this weekend calling for the reopening of Indiana. The governor says gathering in groups right now is the wrong way to get a message across.
This would be the exact way not to be productive about that. Potentially, it just sets us back. Set aside how almost demoralizing it can be to those frontline people that I just talked about that go into work every single day and wonder if they're going to take it home. But when we just add to that, almost in a flaunting way, it is not helping.
Governor Holcomb also announced today an executive order extending the stay-at-home order through May 1st. The order will also let hospitals start performing non-emergency procedures.
The coronavirus pandemic has changed lives across the country and our state. RTV6 is helping you and your family make it to the other side through our new project called the Rebound Indiana. That includes keeping track of the state's unemployment system, and the help is providing for close to 450,000 Hoosiers. Many applicants started receiving their checks last week, and more will get theirs today or sometime this week. You can still apply for unemployment. You will need an email address, a valid ID, information from your last employer, and your bank routing number. And the unemployment process is just one part of the Rebound Indiana.
From financial help to managing stress, we're sharing stories that will help our communities navigate through these uncertain times. We have been shaken to our core. Our lives changed in profound and unsettling ways, and it all seems like it happened in an instant. The virus has left us wondering, when will businesses reopen? How will we go back to work? Do we even want to go back to the way things were?
The way we were is what got us to where we are.
Emerging from this epidemic will take time, hope, and understanding. It will mean taking a closer look at why help that's been promised may not be arriving quite as it should.
There's no red flags flying showing that why our workers are being delayed.
As we move forward, you'll see us shining a light on those determined to keep the economy running, even amid stormy seas.
This is keeping us working.
In the coming weeks and months, we'll be focusing on the rebound, our commitment to stories that will help you navigate these uncertain times.
They can't visit anybody, and they can't go anywhere.
From what you'll need to know when it's time to go back to work, to how those in the community continue to step up. Our hope is to relieve some of the pressure we've all felt lately by showing you the best ways to respond as this country focuses on ways to revive.
We don't have a big life raft right now, but at least we have a life jacket.
We will not forget what this outbreak has done, the kind of loss it has left us with.
He was the kindest person I knew, and not because he was my dad, but just because he was genuinely kind.
But for everything this crisis has taken from us, it has given us back a sense of gratitude, a reminder to be thankful for what matters.
You may now kiss the bride, yay!
And eventually, when things come full circle, we might rebound to someplace better than we were before. The Rebound Indiana is also about making sure the resources meant to help you are being used correctly. With so much taxpayer money going to boost our economy, it's natural to wonder where all that money is going. Alicia Nieves shows you how calls for transparency are playing out in Washington, D.C.
Roughly half of the $2 trillion stimulus package passed by Congress in the CARES Act has gone to bailing out small businesses and major industries. Most of that money has been tied to some accountability, telling companies what they can and cannot spend the money on. But experts say transparency for taxpayers is still an issue.
The biggest bailout in U.S. history deserves the most transparency in U.S. history.
R.J. Cross is with the U.S. Public Interest Research Group. It's a watchdog agency calling for the Federal Reserve to have public disclosure online and in real time of the names of every corporation getting aid and how much these corporations are getting, something the Fed is currently not required to do.
The Federal Reserve has long been hesitant to disclose the names and specific identities of what companies are receiving assistance. And maybe that's been okay in the past, but right now it's definitely not going to be enough.
The call for increased transparency stems from an increased risk the Fed is taking on.
The Federal Reserve is doing things that it's never had to do before, like lending to small and mid-sized businesses and buying riskier classes of corporate debt. This stuff it didn't even do in 2008. It's a risky move.
The debt the Fed is assuming in this bailout has a higher risk of default, a higher chance essentially that it's not going to get back the money it's lending.
If we end up having made a mistake by allowing all of this money to go to corporations who might not pay back those loans, taxpayers could be held accountable and on the hook for hundreds of billions of dollars.
And that's the purpose, the crux of why we're doing this story, because the reality is people are so focused on their own situation right now, and they're thinking about the recovery, hoping it comes soon. But what happens when we have a recovery and then, oh, wait, you're going to get slammed with taxes now because we have to pay back now all this money that was lent out and potentially money that was lent out that can never be paid back.
We need to help people, not put them on the hook for bailouts that hopefully work.
There is no guarantee transparency will reduce the risk in this bailout, but it will allow anyone this time around to know what is happening with taxpayer dollars in real time. I'm Alicia Nieves reporting.
RTV6 is connecting you to resources to make ends meet and get back to work. Join us for a virtual forum with the Department of Workforce Development's top leaders on Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. You can join the discussion and ask questions on the RTV6 Facebook page and at our website, theindychannel.com.
The exact impact of COVID-19 on Indiana's economy is still yet to be known, but experts at Ball State University are working to figure out what the virus could do to our state and local governments. RTV6's Alyssa Donovan explains what the data could mean for you.
A team at Ball State University has been working to determine how the lack in certain tax revenue streams will impact both state and local governments when we return to normal. They found that we could see a more than $200 million loss in tax revenue. According to Michael Hicks, the director of Ball State's Center for Business and Economic Research, that is an optimistic outlook. The team examined tax revenue streams that local and state governments depend on. Everything from bar and restaurant taxes, innkeepers taxes, and gaming taxes. With the closures currently in place, most of those taxes are coming in at very small percentages, which Hicks says will have the potential for long-term effects on us. While many taxpayers are at or near the property tax capacity, Hicks doesn't expect that to be impacted. But instead, these losses will show in the form of government services.
So it's really people cost. So, maybe the pool won't be open as late on weekdays during the summer. Maybe parks won't have the maintenance done on them. Maybe you won't see the upgrades over the summer, both this year and next year.
And one important note from Hicks, Indiana's state and local governments seem to have been better prepared for this situation than some other areas across the country, mainly due to larger rainy day funds. And Hicks says that puts us in a better position to recover. I'm Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Still ahead on RTV6 News at 7, leaders across the country are outlining what they still need to consider relaxing coronavirus restrictions. Kevin.
And in May, and first take a second here to figure this out. The gray is cloud cover. Here's Crawfordsville, Rockville. A few light showers developing. We'll let you know how many more will follow and what it means for tomorrow.
Storm Team 6, working for you.
Welcome back. With Central Indiana's gyms closed for the last 4 weeks, fitness enthusiasts are finding new ways to literally get their steps in. Our TV6 photojournalist Paul Chiodo caught up with several people taking advantage of today's weather.
With so many downtown offices, computers, and desks sitting idle,
I'm just trying to get my workout in.
Allison Chestovich doesn't stop working.
All the gyms have been closed, of course, because of the pandemic. So I think all of us who are here are looking for our best approximation of a substitute of a gym.
But the sound of pounding feet to steps is music to to their ears.
Putting your headphones in and zoning out and just kind of forgetting about what's going on and just being outside. It helps with your mental, state of mind.
But it's not just their physical strength they are trying to keep up, it's their mental strength.
Fitness and health is kind of like my sanity. Without the gym and interaction with people at the gym, it just helps to get outside and break a sweat.
So as they do their workouts, keeping their social distance, they hope others continue to fight this uphill battle and we return to the new normal, one step at a time.
Been an added stress reliever to kind of break up the day, get away, and may as well do it by doing something good for you.
Working for you, Paul Chiodo, RTV6.
Thank you, Paul, for that. And Kevin, what an amazing day to be able to have the opportunity to go outside. I hope we have more of those in the forecast.
Sunny days and Mondays don't get you down?
Not so much. Not when they're mixed together. It makes it a little bit easier.
I agree with that. Love Paul's story about people getting out and taking advantage of the weather. The chance for any showers tonight is low. The bar is low. 20, maybe 30% that you'll see a few sprinkles or light showers tonight. I'll show you in western Indiana where there are a few now. The showers tonight open the door to much cooler temperatures tomorrow. Average high 65. We'll be at 53 tomorrow. Then we bounce right back Wednesday, only to fall again as we go through Thursday. That's the way these temperatures are, up and down. That's looking north from 1330 North Meridian. There's still a few weak spots within the cloud cover, and some sunshine may peek through, but general increase in the cloud cover will continue. Lafayette in the 60s. Zionsville is not. Muncie's at 63, as well as Bloomington. To the radar we go. We'll look into the clouds here in a second. The winds are still strong, gusting to 30 miles per hour in Lafayette, 28 in Bloomington. The wind over the next 24 hours will continue to gust over 20 miles per hour. The difference tomorrow is that the wind will be colder. From around Tipton, a couple of sprinkles. Then we go toward Park County, as I showed you, and Vigo, anywhere between Rockville and Terre Haute, some very light showers. Just east of 231 near Greencastle, south of Crawfordsville. So these few sprinkles may have you turn on the intermittent wipers if you happen to be driving this evening. The bigger push of rain shower chances will come from the northwest. That's where a cold front sits, and it's a dividing line between the relatively mild temperatures that we have now and the much cooler air that will arrive tomorrow. 9 o'clock tonight, a few showers. We put this in motion, and you'll see how quickly on the backside of this, as the showers move through, we'll begin to clear the skies tomorrow, which means we're right back to some sunshine. Temperatures struggle in northern Indiana. Average is 65. About 15 degrees cooler than that in some spots. 54 in Brazil and Clay County tomorrow, 53 in Indy. Temperatures mid to 50s to the south. Then we'll turn around and jump 10 degrees as we get to Wednesday because of that. A south wind that will be around 10 miles per hour, gusting at times in the afternoon to 20, and temperatures that warm on Wednesday come back down a bit with rain and a chance for thunderstorms Thursday. Temperature Friday at 64, but you see what happens over the weekend. Temperatures back into the low 50s by Sunday. The chance of showers is there Saturday and Sunday, with temperatures again stuck in the 50s. At some point, we'll get the breakout 7-day forecast where temperatures are in the 60s and 70s without rain, but so far this is not it.
We will wait for that. Thank you, Kevin, for that. Coming up here on RTV6, business is slow, but a local flower shop is still working to brighten days this spring. We're Open Indy shows you how the local business continues to serve its customers.
Sticking together while staying apart. This is RTV6 News at 7, working for you.
Welcome back. Like we heard from Governor Holcomb today, governors across the country insist stay-at-home measures are critical despite protests, and some leaders say testing hurdles are getting in the way of plans to ease restrictions. Whitney Wild has the latest from Washington.
Small groups of protesters are taking to the streets in some U.S. cities, demanding an end to stay-at-home measures.
These policies are destroying this economy.
A new NBC News Wall Street Journal poll suggests nearly 60% of Americans worry lifting restrictions too soon could make the pandemic worse. But these small groups of protesters have garnered support from the president.
People feel that way. You're allowed to protest.
Governors, meanwhile, are weighing competing guidance from public health experts and businesses on when and how to open up their states' economies.
You don't need protests to convince anyone in this country that we have to get back to work.
The question we all have to face is, what's the reality? If we go too quickly, this could be unsafe for people.
Making that more difficult, state officials say they don't have the supplies for widespread testing, a critical part of sending Americans back to work.
More help is needed from the federal government on testing.
We simply have not had enough test kits.
We governors are doing the best we can with what we've got.
On Capitol Hill, negotiations are underway on a new nearly $500 billion spending package to fund small business loans, hospitals, and more testing. Lawmakers now under pressure while some Americans grow restless in limbo. In Washington, I'm Whitney Wild.
And during today's White House briefing on the coronavirus outbreak, President Trump said he and Vice President Mike Pence spoke with governors today and provided them with lists of labs that have additional capacity for coronavirus testing.
We're Open Indy is highlighting businesses that are open during the pandemic and changing up their plans to comply with social distancing.
RTV6's Troy Washington is talking to a local florist who would normally be very busy during this time of year. She explains why community support is so important during these tough times.
Lisa Slamer's love for all things floral has blossomed over the years.
Started working at Gilbert's when I was in high school. I bought the shop in 2004.
For more than a decade now, she's owned Gilbert's Flower Shop, brightening people's days with floral arrangements, no matter the occasion.
It's kind of become my passion. I, love beautiful flowers and floral design, and just kind of that's a part of me.
She admits, though, COVID-19 has slowed the flow of business.
It has certainly taken, its toll on us. We've had some pretty slow days, and I've tried to do what I can. I am taking deliveries, and we've had a few people come in for pickup orders.
She's even offering curbside service so people can pick up their orders while social distancing.
I hope to think we do everything we can to make our customers happy, and personalized service is certainly something we do. I work every day. I'm there, hands-on.
Even with the modifications, Slimmer says business is not the same as it usually would be during this season. During the springtime, she has Easter, Mother's Day, and even prom to typically look forward to.
This season is prom season, and unfortunately, none of the kids get to do that. I don't think anybody's seen this in their lifetime, something like this.
Though the COVID-19 pandemic has changed how things are done, this florist wants to remind customers she's open and here for them, ready to meet all floral needs. Working for you, Troy Washington, RTV6.
And RTV6 and the Indy Chamber of Commerce have joined forces to protect Indiana businesses. You can find more about the Chamber's Buy Indy effort and profiles on businesses that are open by going to theindychannel.com/open. We'll be right back.
Wednesday marks the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, and with the global pandemic, it will look a little different this year. Organizers are encouraging 24 hours of digital efforts to save the planet. They suggest making signs and sharing them via social media with the hashtag Earth Day Network. They also say it's a great opportunity to learn about volunteer opportunities you can do once social distancing guidelines are lifted. Earth Day started in the U.S. in 1970, and the Earth Day Network now coordinates the event worldwide.
And speaking of social distancing, my dad and I have played a little game. I drop off groceries to him, and he always leaves me something. And what he left me over the weekend made me feel like Santa Claus. 2 cookies and a glass of milk. It didn't take long for that to disappear. Ho, ho, ho.
Thanks for making RTV6 your choice for news. Our next newscast is tonight at 11. We'll see you then.